Hello, teacher and classmates. This is the final exam for research project. My study is named Sensorial Stimuli for English Learning Mobile Apps and its effects on Bogota's high school students' vocabulary knowledge, English skills, and motivation. So basically, in this study, what I wanted is to investigate if whether using multimedia material through a mobile app can enhance English vocabulary skills in students and English knowledge in general. And I also wanted to know if it can also increase students' motivation. So this is the research question. By incorporating the use of mobile apps that allow students to learn English with visual and auditory stimuli to regular English class activities, an interactive way of teaching can be established in the classrooms to enhance English education, prompting quick vocabulary acquisition and raising motivation in students. But will an interactive activity like this involving a mobile app and its multimedia features and its use in the secondary school classrooms of Bogota help improve students' vocabulary knowledge and increase their motivation? So the study is intended to be applied in the schools of Bogota. That's the scope of the study. The objectives are shown in this screen. They're basically about learning about the impact of multimedia education in English education, and to establish a strategy that it's very effective in teaching secondary students a good level of English that they will need. So the idea behind it is to improve the English skills of secondary students in Bogota, and doing so by using innovative strategies like the use of multimedia learning, and also by using a mobile app, which are very popular, very easy to use applications that nowadays everybody can have. So basically, I'm going to do this study. I'm going to apply this study for 11 grade students for 1 month, and I'm going to collect information to present the conclusions and to establish if the study was successful and if the theory is proven to be true. The methodology. I'm going to use a survey as a methodology. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 4 groups. One group will be the control group, and the 3 other will be experimental groups. So the experimental groups will be exposed to the app, and the control group will continue their English classes normally. The app will be used in classrooms during the English class at the end of it, and different times will be allocated to different groups. So I want to explore if there's a relationship between the time of exposure and the effectiveness and the increase of vocabulary. The variables. The variables, as you see here in the screen, are vocabulary knowledge. That's something I'm going to measure at the beginning of the study and at the end of the study to compare the students' knowledge of vocabulary, compare the vocabulary of the students of the experimental groups and the vocabulary of the control group, and see if there's any significant difference. I'm gonna and the other variable is level of motivation towards using the app. This variable is gonna be measured through a series of questionnaires at the end of the study, as well as motivation to learn vocabulary, the teacher's perception of the strategy. There are going to be English proficiency tests to measure language skills. The time students spend using the app, the time that I allocate to different groups will be the independent variable that I'm going to manipulate. So by assigning different times, exposure times to different groups, I'm going to see if there's any change or any difference in the time of allocated to using the app. The exposition to mobile applications is another variable. 3 groups are going to use the app, and one control group, won't be using the app. So that's the other variable that I'm going to manipulate to obtain the results. The theoretical framework. The theory of multimedia learning by Richard Meyer is the theory that upon which my research relies, because I want to prove that multimedia material can be effective in learning, and I can do so by using mobile apps, because mobile apps have multimedia features that help you design learning material for students. The theory of multimedia learning states that by using visual and auditory stimuli, you can teach more effectively. It relies on the dual coding theory by Alan Paivio, which states that the brain processes images and verbal and auditive stimuli separately. So images are processed by one part of the brain and sounds by another part of the brain. If we use multimedia material, we can ensure that the brain processes both stimuli simultaneously, making a link between them and making learning more effective. So that's what the dual coding theory is all about. The cognitive load theory, upon which the theory of multimedia learning also relies, states that the brain has a limited capacity of processing images and sounds or stimuli. So we cannot overwhelm students with too much visual or auditive stimuli on our learning material, because we will overwhelm the student, and it would cause confusion because the brain has certain limit to process this stimuli. The theory of cognition is another theory that supports the idea of using stimuli, using images, using interactivity to study, to learn, and it would be appropriate for learning activities. So I rely on these theories to develop my own theory, which is that using mobile apps can improve students' vocabulary and engage them in the activities, increase their motivation towards learning vocabulary, and at the same time their English skills will be improved rapidly, or will increase faster than just with regular English classes. So this is my presentation. Thank you so much to the teacher for all we've learned during the course, and thank you for to the classmates for all the comments and the feedback that I received. And I'll see you probably next year.